And then the latest layer that came out with EigenLayer was restaking. So with restaking, we still have your ETH deposited into the Ethereum network that is being used to secure the network, but it's also being reutilized to expand and extrapolate the security guarantees of Ethereum to verify external networks. So that's really the key innovation here. So what do I mean by that? What do I mean by that is that if you have, as you guys can see from the blue boxes in front of you, there are a wide variety of applications and services that require bootstrapping their own security. In other words, they need their own validator list. They need their own validator list in order to secure and verify their network. So rather than having each and every single one of those networks essentially make up their own validator list, they can just borrow this security from Ethereum. So why is this beneficial? This is beneficial for a couple of reasons, but in order to just really simplify it and to give you like the key benefit really, it's two things. First of all, again, if you're a small network, you don't have a lot of resources, you don't have a lot of supporters, which is the two key items that you need in order to have a strong and a resilient security layer. However, if you do have a network as big and as established as Ethereum, with more than $100 billion worth of ETH that is being used to back Ethereum security, you are effectively enabled to borrow from some of that. So this is, of course, this introduces a capital efficient way of relying on Ethereum in order to secure your network. But it's not just for the network's benefit. This is also quite helpful on the user or on the staker side, because for ETH stakers, they earn somewhere from 2 to 4%. Of course, this is dependent on the network activity, depending on how many people are staking, depending on a lot of things, but it could be quite small for some operators. So when you as a staker or when you as an operator working on top of EigenLayer, if you plug your service into the protocol, you are able to earn additional yield. So of course, this is quite an exciting opportunity for people that they believe in the security of Ethereum and they believe in the network itself, but they don't want to risk it with their capital. So this is a way to earn further yield while still adhering to the same network that they all can prepare. And at the same, and I think as just as a last piece of consequence, EigenLayer is really quite impactful because it allows Ethereum to become the de facto settlement layer for the crypto economy. This is quite huge. It's quite huge, but it also does have its risks, which we will talk about in the next slide. But again, if we want the Ethereum or if we want the crypto ecosystem to be as resilient and as robust, then we need to rely on the strongest chain. And of course, in that case, this is Ethereum. Cool. So what are the different ways for people to participate in restaking? Just like Lido Finance, or just like staking, really, you can deposit your ETH into EigenLayer, and then you are just suddenly participating in the restaking mechanism. But this also goes beyond that. So as I've mentioned, with liquid staking solutions, LSDs, you're able to deposit your receipt token like STETH, which is the largest one, which actually has a little bit less than 30% of the total tokens that are being used to secure Ethereum. So you can use that in order to participate in EigenLayer. But you could also use something else, and this is where people start to get a little bit tricky and nauseous about that we are adding so many layers on top of Ethereum. So you could deposit your ETH or your liquid staking solution in order to receive back a liquid restaking solution. It feels a little bit like CDOs of 2008, and that's a very fair assessment of it. And we will get into the risks, but it's a fair assessment. The only difference I would say, though, from CDOs to having a similar type of a product in crypto is that there is transparency. You are able to see the different layers that makes it up. You really didn't have this in the traditional financial system, unless, of course, you were relying on the expertise of some of your financial wizards. Cool. So just to give more color and context on liquid restaking solutions, they've had an insane run this year. We started this year with less than, I think it was less than 300 million at the beginning of January. We saw that grow by a factor of 33 to now reaching close to $10 billion worth of liquid restaking solutions. This is it's quite phenomenal. We haven't really seen this kind of growth. We've seen it over a longer time period, but again, it shows how much EigenLayer has been eagerly anticipated and how, yeah, just the level of excitement, the level of unprecedented excitement that the crypto ecosystem has demonstrated towards EigenLayer. But it's not just EigenLayer. So as I've mentioned, you can either deposit your ETH in order to participate, or you can deposit liquid restaking solutions. So just as a quick snap, Ethereum on its own, it makes up close to 65%. And liquid restaking solutions, they make up close to about, 35%. It's a very exciting primitive, but as we will continue to talk about this nonstop, because this really should be one of the things on everyone's radar. There is so much to get into, and I'd like to urge people to keep track of the research that we will be putting out over the next months, because this is not a topic to be covered in just 15 to 20 minutes, but we think it's worth highlighting for you guys. So just to sum back everything up, or to circle back to everything at the end, at the EigenLayer, you can think of it as this mechanism that allows a layer of either networks or things that we call actively validated services. Is just a term that we use for any type of a blockchain-based application that requires consensus in order to operate as intended.